local news gets. News 12, the Bronx.
It's the most common type of cancer, but it's very preventable. Today marks the last day of Skin Cancer Awareness Month. Andrea Grimes has some tips for the summer sun in this 12 on Health Report.
Growing up in the Bronx, you lived at Orchard Beach, and the darker you got, the better you thought you were.
Betty Ann Iannaccio says her past of baking in the Bronx sun without any sunscreen came back to haunt her. Last year, the St. Barnabas Hospital employee was diagnosed with non-melanoma skin cancer.
It was just a little red dot, and it turned out to be very serious, and it was very frightening to me.
Dr. Charles Gropper at St. Barnabas says sun safety is a message that bears much repeating.
It's a really important topic to discuss because I think people are not getting it.
Doctors diagnose more than 3.5 million skin cancers each year in the U.S., more than all other cancers combined. The key here, though,
skin cancer is highly preventable.
Dr. Gropper recommends Bronxites use an SPF 30 sunscreen every day and apply a generous amount all over, including your neck, chest, and back of your hands. Don't forget a special sun protector for your lips. He says you should reapply every 2 hours on hot days. If you do find a new or rapidly changing lesion or mole, see a doctor immediately. It's all a big message Iannaccio, who is now okay, cannot stress enough.
You really have to be careful.
Dr. Gropper points out the most common form of cancer in young people ages 25 to 29 is melanoma. He says, again, the most important thing to take away from all of this is that skin cancer is nearly always curable if it's caught early. Reporting from St. Barnabas Hospital, Andrea Grimes, News 12, the Bronx.
The facility is open at St. Barnabas Hospital to help patients recover from sudden injuries or strokes. The new short-stay rehab center on 183rd and 3rd gives up to 30 patients a place to get daily physical therapy at a brand new gym. But the man in charge of the center says the most important part of the facility is the team of doctors and nurses that are dedicated to help patients feel better and make a full recovery.
When you see a modern, renovated, attractive, and comfortable floor with, amenities and curtains and attention from the staff, when you see enhanced activities and attention to people's dignity, you know you're going to get better, and you know you're going to go home a lot sooner.
The center is for patients who will stay about 3 weeks recovering from a stroke, knee or hip replacement, and back injuries. Well, it has the same amount of caffeine as about 2 cups of coffee or 5 cans of soda. But now, questions about the energy shot called 5-Hour Energy. Our Matt Piper has tonight's 12 on Health Report.
Consumption of this little burst of energy called 5-Hour Energy could have resulted in the deaths of more than a dozen people over the last 4 years. The FDA says it has received 92 reports about the caffeinated product, including 33 hospitalizations and 13 deaths. We asked students at Fordham University if they've ever taken the dietary supplement to stay up late to study.
I actually fell asleep within an hour of using it. Yeah.
So did that make you not use it again?
Yeah, I never bought it again.
I've been a little skeptical about it, mostly because it's vitamin. That's all it is. It's just a bunch of B12 vitamins.
They retail anywhere from $3 to $5 at bodegas here in the Bronx, but a local doctor here at St. Barnabas says you really should be careful before taking that next shot.
I think it raises concern that people should be careful when using something that's touted to be a supplement, but has never really been tested for safety.
Reports like these to the FDA does not mean that a product was definitely responsible for a death, but experts say it does raise concerns. In many of the reports, drinkers suffered heart attacks after taking the energy shot.
A higher dose of caffeine could potentially have sort of thrown them over the edge.
But in a statement, the distributor of 5-Hour Energy told us, quote, it is marketed to hardworking adults who need an extra boost of energy. Living Essentials is unaware of any deaths proven to have been caused by the consumption of 5-Hour Energy. Matt Piper reporting, News 12 The Bronx.
The story is our question of the day. We want to know if you think 5-Hour Energy should be pulled from store shelves. You can vote at news12.com or channel 612.
Well, right now, a brand new list of tests that doctors say you simply do not need. 135 tests, in fact, according to the latest research, for more than a dozen medical societies. So which tests should you get? Which ones should you skip? Some important information today from Dr. Ernest Patty. He's a senior attending physician of emergency medicine at St. Barnabas Hospital. Certainly you order a lot of tests, Dr. Patty.
We do.
But which are the top ones that maybe red flags we should avoid?
Well, we can't just make a list right now and say you don't need these ever. Obviously, every patient interaction is key. There are some, though, that we definitely overutilize, and old habits are hard to break sometimes. You know, overutilizing x-rays, CAT scans, total body scans, tests of this nature, as I mentioned, and overprescribing antibiotics.
Let me ask you about those total body scans, because I hear those commercials on the radio now and then. You know, go in for this total body scan and you're going to figure out, you know, if you have cancer or there's some unknown illness that you need to check out. Why is that not a good idea? Why isn't more information better?
Many times they use a high intensity CAT scan, and you're getting a whopping dose of radiation, which, you know, over time, the radiation dosage that your body receives adds up and could contribute to you developing a future cancer down the road. So if you don't need this type of test, if you're asymptomatic and you don't have any illness or issues, why go and get it? And occasionally they find things in areas that are inaccessible that may be benign but may cause concern for you.
There's that fear of missing something that's just out there for all of us. And I wonder for you as a doctor too, a patient comes in, they have certain symptoms, let's say there's 5 different tests you could give, but you decide to give 2. Are you worried about not giving those other 3 because of litigation, because of a patient coming back and saying, hey doc, we missed these other 3 tests and now I'm suing you?
That's a big problem that many physicians and myself grapple with on a daily basis, definitely. You know, medicine is a science, a constantly changing science, but also involves sort of an art to it, and that art is being able to evaluate a patient, making them feel comfortable, and getting information from them both verbally and from your physical exam to help you go down the right path.
So how can we empower patients and our viewers out there so that we know what questions to ask our doctor before blindly taking a blood test or an x-ray? Are there certain things that we should just inquire about? Because for the most part, when we go to the doctors, we trust what you're telling us.
Oh, most definitely. But patients should ask, you know, do I really need this blood test? Do I really need this radiological study? You know, is it necessary for me to get this kind of CAT scan? They really should ask, and especially parents when they're taking their children to the doctor as well. If the doctor doesn't give you the satisfactory answer by speaking with you, then maybe you should look for another doctor, because doctors need to explain why and when we want to do things.
How is this affecting costs? Healthcare costs in general, the abundance of tests that we can do now versus what we could do 50 years ago?
Well, it's definitely pushing costs up, especially the specter of malpractice. You know, physicians are worried that, you know, you're going to get
Flu
sued.
season is in full swing, the earliest start in about 10 years. Health officials warn that this year's virus could be an especially dangerous one. Andrea Grimes has this 12 on Health report.
Bernardo Gill has never gotten the flu, and he wants to keep it that way. That's why the father of 2 is getting the flu shot.
I'm really trying to avoid to get sick this year. Holiday season and everything. I have 2 kids at home, so if I don't get sick, hopefully they won't get sick.
Doctors say Gill is doing the right thing. Health experts report flu season is in full swing, the earliest start in nearly 10 years.
It's here.
Dr. Eric Applebaum at St. Barnabas Hospital says this year's virus could be a bad one. He's already seeing more fevers in the ER. He says luckily precautions are being taken more seriously than ever.
The vaccine this year appears to be pretty much spot on with the flu strains that are out there.
But that only helps if you get the vaccine. The CDC says everyone over age 6 months should get the yearly flu vaccine. That especially includes high-risk groups, including pregnant women, children younger than age 5, the elderly, and those with chronic medical conditions.
The flu kills anywhere from 30,000 to 40,000 people a year across the country, and depending on the year that can be a little lower or higher, so it's something we really take very seriously.
The doctor says in addition to the flu shot, it's also important to take some standard precautions, including washing your hands often and covering your mouth when you cough. He also says it is important if you are in one of those vulnerable groups to make sure you stay away from people who are sick. Reporting at St. Barnabas Hospital, Andrea Grimes, News 12, The Bronx.
Y ahora, Noticiero Telemundo Nueva York a las 6, trabajando para ti.
Muchísimas gracias a nuestra Victoria Sosa. Vamos a pasar a noticias de salud y bienestar, porque resulta que la vacuna del flu es un arma para evitar que la enfermedad lo afecte con fuerza, pero los expertos aseguran que este año podría ser más necesaria, y Aima Crespo nos explica por qué. Adelante, Yaima.
Iván, la temporada de gripe se habría adelantado este año y lo que significa es que el número de casos de contagios se habría disparado, por lo que se recomienda poner en práctica métodos de prevención. Cada año, Clelia Ocano se vacuna contra la gripe común que tiende a cobrar fuerza durante la temporada más fría del año.
La vacuna es una cosa que nos ayuda bastante para evitar que nosotros nos quedamos enfermos durante el invierno.
Y como trabajadora social, Clelia sabe que el interactuar con muchas personas tiende a aumentar el riesgo de contagio.
Nosotros tenemos que nos cuidar primero para servir a nuestros pacientes.
Si usted no se ha vacunado contra la gripe, pues debería estar pensando en hacerlo, ya que el Centro para el...
It's a health issue affecting millions of men across America, including right here in the Bronx. It's also one many find uncomfortable to discuss, but St. Barnabas Hospital is tackling it this week in a special public seminar. Andrew Grimes explains in this 12 on Health report.
Right now I'm 61 and I'm feeling like a 21. That's right.
A proud 61-year-old Francesco Peralta has no problem talking about what many would consider a touchy subject.
My sex is beautiful. I don't have no more problem.
Peralta is feeling sexually confident today, but that's a big change from when he says he first noticed his erectile dysfunction, or ED, 3 years ago.
I have a problem when I go out with my girl.
Peralta had a special penile implant surgery to fix the issue last year. His case is more common than you may think.
The problem tends to be about 30 to 50% of the men that I see above the age of 50 will have some component of ED.
Bronx urologist Dr. Sipan Polepali says 30 million men in the United States suffer from ED. He says it's the inability to perform sexually, and it's typically a sign of other health issues like diabetes.
ED is a reversible problem. Men should not feel that they have to feel they cannot enjoy a certain part of their life.
The doctor says most people know about drugs like Cialis or Viagra, but there are other options, like the surgery Peralta underwent. He says it changed his life.
I'm not regretting. I mean, that's a beautiful thing I do.
St. Barnabas Hospital is hosting a free seminar open to the public Thursday night on ED. The doctor and his partner, as well as the patient, Francisco Peralta, will be there to answer your questions. It begins at 6 o'clock in Spanish and 7 o'clock in English, but you do need to RSVP. Reporting on the Grand Concourse, Andrea Grimes, News 12, the Bronx.
The free seminars at the Breaker Boardroom at St. Barnabas, as Andrew mentioned, at 3rd Avenue East, 180th Street, 83rd Street to RSVP. Call 347-295-2600. All that information is also posted at news12.com.